Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. We begin with the latest on the security situation in Zamfara State. Police in the north-central state have confirmed 13 people were killed in clashes between suspected cattle thieves and local civilian militia in the northern part of the state. The prolonged fight lasted from Tuesday through to Wednesday in Frankashi in the Maru district of Zamfara State. Zamfara State, especially the remote areas, have been vulnerable to attacks by the cattle rustlers and kidnapping gangs who have raided herding communities, killing, looting, and burning homes. In a bid to curb their attacks, the villagers formed self-defense forces but were often accused of killing suspected cattle thieves, prompting reprisal attacks. It is not clear if the latest incident was a reprisal or a raid to steal cattle. Senator Dino Melaye will spend more than 1 month in police custody after a magistrate court in Lokoja denied his application for bail. The senator was arraigned in the Kogi state capital on charges relating to illegal possession of firearms. The lawmaker, who is standing trial alongside 3 others, had applied for bail, but the request was opposed by the police council. The chief magistrate, Suleiman Abdullahi, in his ruling, ordered that the senator should be kept in prison custody until June 11, 2018. President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to return back to the country on Thursday evening. This was disclosed by his spokesperson, Femi Adesina, through his Twitter handle. Adesina gave the clarification following the confusion over the president's delayed arrival from an official trip to the U.S. Buhari had initially been scheduled to arrive the country on Wednesday, but Adesina revealed the president had to make a technical stopover in the UK and will arrive Nigeria on Thursday. The Federal Executive Council has approved additional 80 billion naira for the rehabilitation of Section 2 of the Lagos-IBADAN Expressway from Shagamu to Ibadan. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, disclosed this to State House correspondents at the end of the Council's marathon meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The Council also approved 80.874 billion naira for repair and maintenance works on the Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos. Fashola said the sum is part of the 99.01 billion naira approved for the repair and construction of roads across the country.
The place to start is where we stopped last week when I reported that Section 1 of the Lagos-IBADAN Expressway, comprising 43 kilometers, was awarded for improved extra scope of works, and that Section 2 that will complete the part by Reynolds Construction was in procurement and will come back. That has come back, so I'd like to start from there so that you have a complete picture of the 84 kilometers section awarded to Reynolds Construction Company LCC at 96 billion before. It is now revised by 80.199 billion to take the total cost to 176.503 billion. The last project that was approved was for the repair and rehabilitation of the Third Mainland Bridge as part of our national ongoing bridge repair and maintenance. Many of our bridges had just been left really without maintenance. This contract is for 18.874 billion. Again, it was conceived in 2011, but it wasn't awarded because there were no budgetary provisions to support it. We have created a budgetary provision for it as part of, as I said, a national bridge maintenance strategy, because we're seeing our bridges haven't been maintained for decades.
The Council also approved a 4-man ministerial committee to ensure speedy completion of the highway. The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, who spoke on the appointment of the 4-man ministerial committee to be chaired by him, said members of the committee would undertake an inspection tour of the east-west road with a view to ensuring its completion.
We have signed an agreement with GE to invest an initial sum of $45 million out of the $2.7 billion they're supposed to invest when we signed the main concession agreement. So what we've signed is what we call an interim phase agreement, in which GE will invest the initial $45 million to repair the Western Line, which is Lagos to Kano, and another $54 million to repair the Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. Now, there are some expectations on the federal government, and that is what these approvals were. We are supposed to contribute overhead traveling cranes, electric overhead traveling cranes, carriage and wagon workshop, diesel, and some other things to assist them as they repair some of our locomotives, coaches, and wagons, which will be used for the purpose of running the narrow gauge. The idea is that before we complete the standard gauge, you know how much money we require to complete the standard gauge. Let the narrow gauge start running. So the history of the fact that they've done some repair before, I don't know, I have no idea. Because as we're talking now, the narrow gauge can only run at 17 kilometers per hour, which means if there was any rehabilitation, we didn't see it. So, but this rehabilitation will increase the speed to about 40-45 kilometers per hour. By the time they now come to the main concession agreement, they would have gotten $2.7 billion of their own. When they do bring it and complete all the rehabilitation work, then the narrow gauge will run at the maximum narrow gauge speed, which is 80 kilometers per hour.
The European Union has pledged its commitment to ensuring a peaceful electoral process in Nigeria. Nigeria is expected to elect new leaders in February next year. Ambassador Ketu Carlton, head of EU delegation to Nigeria, and the ECOWAS has now assured that the Union will partner with the Nigerian leadership and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to ensure the polls are free and fair.
Now, elections is not only what is taking place on election day itself, of course. It is much more important what goes on between the elections. So we are partnering with every key stakeholder in Nigeria to support their engagement. Our calculation demonstrates that since 1999 we have supported electoral and democratic processes with around 100 million euros. And currently we are supporting with 26.5 million euros, of course, INEC and the key institutions, the National Assembly, the political parties, but also the engagement through civil society of youth, of women, and of disabled people. And I must say we are particularly proud to be first movers on engaging also the Albino Foundation in Nigeria on their engagement on electoral issues. So there is a full and strong package of support accompanying all of our Nigerian partners on this very, very important matter in the run-up to the next elections.
Still on the European Union's intervention in Nigeria, the deputy head of the delegation, Richard Yang, has announced plans to support returning migrants. Yang, who also spoke at a press briefing, said the EU will support in 4 areas. They said the Union will also work with agencies like National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, and the towns of their origin to ensure proper rehabilitation.
We focus on 4 main areas where we try and work with them over the future. One, we try and identify the vulnerable people. There are some people who are psychologically affected. There are some people who've been victims of trafficking. And we try and channel them into a particular area where they can deal with those vulnerabilities that they've had and try and deal with the stresses that they've had. And we work a lot with NAPTIP in that area. The second area is to try individually to identify certain individuals who are interested in doing certain things. A lot of people want to set up businesses or they want to do certain activities. And then there's a whole program of counseling and advice and training that might be able to move them in that direction as an individual. There are some people in the third area who want to work together. So we might work with a group of individuals collectively to try and support their activities in terms of setting up businesses and taking forward that work. And so we will give them advice as a collective to work with them in particular manners and particular business areas. And then there's the fourth area, which is identifying the towns and places from which people have come. Many of you will know that roughly 50% of the people who've been coming home from Libya come from one particular state. They come from Edo State. And then maybe another 10 to 15% come from Delta State. So we have 65% of people coming from 2 states. And then within those states, we find that there are certain villages that promote or encourage or facilitate or a source of that trafficking. So we wish to work with those villages and those communities to try and deal with the particular issues that take place there. So it's a kind of layered approach. Bring people home, deal with the vulnerable people, deal with the individuals who want to do something, deal with the individuals who want to work with other individuals to do something, and then work with the towns and villages where this is happening. So this is what we're working on, in particular with IOM, who is our major partner here, and channeling the work, but working with all the organisations that exist, in particular the state government, the local governments, their own organisations that work on trafficking, and then working with the national organisations, in particular NAPTIC, who works very strongly in this area.
JUMIA Food is challenging the convention of visiting restaurants to purchase food. People can now order meals from over 20 restaurants and have it delivered where they want it, all through a smartphone. The multi-million-dollar e-commerce company has recently updated its JUMIA Food mobile application to further ensure efficient service delivery. CEO JUMIA Food and Travels Joe Forta explains these upgrades in details.
Roughly 3/4 of the users of JUMIA Food access the business and the services through the app because it's the most convenient way to order food when you're on the go, when you're in your office, anywhere. And we've put a big investment to really try and make that experience as easy as possible. Make it as easy as possible for people to discover great food that they want to eat and to order it and get it delivered in 30 to 45 minutes. So the new app is firstly much more visually appealing. So we've sent photographers out to all of the restaurants that we work with to take beautiful photos that summarize the food that those restaurants have to offer. So it's much easier to really see what it is that you're ordering and get that visual feedback. The second thing is that we've introduced other payment methods, so you can now, it's much more easy to pay by card than it used to be. We've updated the way that we track, the customers can track the progress of their order. So now it's very easy as a customer to see, okay, I've placed the order, I can see that the restaurant has confirmed it, I can see that the rider has now been dispatched, I can see that he's near me. So customers can now track the progress of their order of 5 different stages. So the transparency, the convenience is even better than it was before.
Porter also announced the company's plan to further expand into other Nigerian cities and other projects they are launching.
There are a couple of things that I'm really excited about on food right now. So one of them is our launch in Port Harcourt. So we started out here in Lagos back in 2012. We launched Abuja afterwards, and we're now active in Port Harcourt as well. So this is really bringing a lot of convenience and choice to the people of Port Harcourt, and they should try it out. We're experimenting more as well with different types of business models. So we've launched, for example, a breakfast club where we come to offices and provide food for everyone there to get their day started. So that's something that, that HR managers and office managers can reach out to us, and we have a very competitive offer for feeding their employees in the morning and during the day.
You're still watching News Now on TV360. After the break is business news.
Corruption not in my country.
Now, yeah.
Yes, Oga.
Okay.
Where I go come find 300 naira change?
I better try look for change now. When you do business. Hey, Timmy. I did, bro. I be. I beg, give me 200 naira. Make I take sort out this guy. Blessing no get change.
Okay, give us.
I said 200.
Give her 100 naira.
Yeah.
Okay, I agreed to pay 200.
How much you think they carry people from that place we carry on the chair?
Oga.
No, they touch me.
Now 100 naira. He agreed to pay.
Because that was what you said was the fare. Why you not go pay you? Why you they extort your customer? You see this corruption, what would they hear for news? They see for people everywhere. Now be this so. This is corruption, not in our country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Hello and welcome to Business News On. I am Esther Vese. China's central bank, that's People's Bank of China, and the Central Bank of Nigeria have signed a bilateral local currency swap agreement. The agreement allows the two countries swap a total of 15 billion Chinese yuan for 720 billion naira. The country is aimed at facilitating bilateral trade and direct investment, as well as safeguarding the stability of the financial market in both countries. The contract, which is valid for the next 3 years, can be extended upon mutual consent. Of State for Environment, Ibrahim Jibrin, has been briefing reporters on the achievements of his ministry from 2015 to date. According to him, the ministry only got one approval on the Ogoni cleanup consultancy service in December 2017.
In the Ministry of Environment, we had only one approval that needed to come to council, and that was the Ogoni cleanup consultancy services. The Ogoni cleanup, the issue of the oil pollution in the Niger Delta, particularly as it affects 4 local governments of Ogoni land in River State. This is a place where we've received a lot of criticism, but we've been slow and steady, as people will say. And for now, we have drawn up a plan which is going on methodically. We have started the procurement process. The tenders were called for, and last Monday, just about 2 days ago, the tenders were closed and open for evaluation. These evaluation activities will go on for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, and we hope by the end of July, the contract will be out and contractors can move to site by August this year. We have a complete timetable from now till the end of the year, December, of the activities to be carried out.
The Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, also disclosed that the Council approved 2.9 billion naira to effect repairs at the completed GURARA Dam and hydropower plant. He stated another 6.1 billion naira and 25.3 million euros was approved for the final settlement of the contractor of the project. The minister also revealed that with this approval, the contractor would hand over the project to government, while the hydropower plant would also be given out for concession to interested party for effective management.
Decided to put in all the necessary procedures to close these contracts, which included establishing the defects liability period, issuing certificates of practical completion, doing the final accounts, these are normal procedures whenever a project is being completed. But some of the works had been completed, like if this particular one is the GURARA Dam and the associated works, including the 30 megawatts hydropower plant. The dam was finished in 2007. The hydropower plant was finished in 2010, but there was never any plan to take over. So what we did was last year we gave the contractor just 1 year, additional year, just to maintain the site, because we have a hydropower plant that requires to be handled with care. We are waiting to concession the power plant. We'll be planning to concession. We've gone very far with the process of concessioning, but there is still a 25-kilometer transmission line contract by Transmission Company of Nigeria which has not been completed. And until that project is completed, the site, the power plant cannot operate. So in the interim, because the contractors, keeping the contractor is costing a lot of money, we decided now that we're going to bring in a team of Nigerian experts to be in form of a facility management outfit to take over the maintenance of this plant until the concessioning of the hydro power plant, and then we'll decide what to do with the rest.
The benchmark index for the Nigerian Stock Exchange took a fall as the bears returned to the market after a bullish run that lasted 3 consecutive market days. Recording a 0.48% marginal drop, the market capitalization closed at 14.890 trillion naira. Although still maintaining its 41,000 psychological line, total value of shares traded went down by 2.13 billion naira to close at 4.760 billion naira, as opposed to yesterday's 6.890 billion naira. Nestle, Cement Company of Northern Nigeria, Okumu Oil, and Flour Mills of Nigeria were top performers out of 33 advances. On the other hand, international breweries, Dangote Cement, Unilever, and Forte Oil recorded the highest loss among 25 losers. Meanwhile, UBA, Access Bank, eTransact International, and Zenith Bank were the most actively patronized stocks for the day. That's all on business news. We will be back shortly. Please stay tuned.
People to get only 10 people to register to vote, 10 new voters. Each of us standing here today, when you get back home, when you get to your place of work, your school, try and get 10 new people that do not have their PPC to register to vote. We're going to take on our website onevoice.ng, onevoice.ng. Please go there, give us the information. If you get 10 people to vote, then you're amongst us.
So at least start with your voter's card and begin to use that to bargain about the type of person you want to see on February 16, 2019 and March 2nd on the ballot paper.
So we want to focus on people who haven't voted before. It's 100,000 people who are looking to pledge that, because that gives us a minimum of 1 million new voters.
Instead of to say, oh, my vote no go count now. Try vote first, maybe you see whether it will count, you know.
Glad to have you back. At least 95 people have been killed and scores more injured after a severe dust storm hit the northern Indian states of Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. The storms on Wednesday disrupted electricity, uprooted trees, destroyed houses and killed livestock. Many of the dead were sleeping when their houses collapsed after being struck by intense bursts of lightning. Dust storms are common in this part of India during summer, but loss of life on this scale is unusual. Suspected rebels have killed at least 17 civilians belonging to the Tuareg ethnic community in northern Mali. This comes just days after 40 others were killed during a similar raid on nearby villages, authorities say. The attacks occurred in a village east of the town of Menaka, near the border with Niger. Violence has escalated in recent months as armed groups once confined to the remote north of the West African country have exploited ethnic tensions to recruit Fulani herders and extend their presence further south. Fulani herders have come into conflict with Tuareg herders over access to scarce water points. On to sports now. Enyimba have beefed up their CAF Confederation Cup campaign with Nasiru Sani ahead of their weekend group stage opener with Joliba AC of Mali. The People's Elephant chief coach Usman Abdallah said that they decided to include Sani because of his improvement since he joined them at the beginning of the season. The former African champions cruised to the group stage at the expense of Bidvest weight of South Africa, whom they eliminated on the away goal rule, and are in Group C alongside Joliba Williamsville AC and Cara Brazzaville. Liverpool reached the Champions League final after surviving a late scare in Rome to qualify for the 2018 UEFA Champions League final. Though the Reds lost 4-2 to Roma on Wednesday night at Stadio Olimpico, they still progressed on a 7-6 aggregate scoreline, having won 5-2 at Anfield last time out. This is the first time in over a decade that Liverpool will be making it to final of the Champions League. The Reds will now take on 12-time defending champions Real Madrid in Kyiv on May 26. South Africa will challenge athletics' new rule on hyperandrogenism as it seeks to keep up double Olympian Caster Semenya status as the queen of middle-distance athletics. Athletics South Africa said it has found the new regulations to be twisted after a week's consultation with the country's sports ministry and Olympic Committee. It comes a week after the International Association of Athletics Federation IAAF confirmed new rules which effectively gives Semenya a choice of taking the medication to restrict her hormones or move to longer distance events. Well, that's it on News Now. You can watch some of our other programs on our website at www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also watch us on Facebook at facebook.com/TV360online. You can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TV360Nigeria. And we are also live on YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. I am Fidelia Agoncha. Thank you so much for watching.